Hello, greetings in the name of the Lord. Thank God for one more day. Thank God for the barber shops being open too. Got my hair and my face cut. Feels better. Can't do nothing about how it looks. Hope all of you are doing better and God is keeping you at peace. This thing that we're going through is traumatic, and we're closing in on historic numbers. 100,000 Americans, like you and me, have died from this plague. We need to pray. We need to continue to pray, and we need to continue to get closer to God. And we need to accept what we see and what we hear. But let me share something a little light before we do any of that. It's entitled A Warning About Not Accepting What You See. A woman brought a very limp duck into the veterinary surgeon. As she laid her pet on the table, the vet pulled out his stethoscope, listened to the bird's chest. After a moment or two, the vet shook his head and sadly said, "I'm sorry, your duck Cuddles has passed away." The distressed woman wailed, "Are you sure?" "Yes, I am sure. Your duck is dead," replied the vet. "How can you be so sure?" she protested. "I mean, you haven't done any testing on him or anything. He might just be in a coma or something." The vet rolled his eyes, turned around, and left the room. He returned a few minutes later with a black Labrador retriever. As the duck's owner looked on, the Labrador retriever, in amazement, the dog stood on his hind legs, put his front paws on the examination table, and sniffed the duck from top to bottom. He then looked up at the vet with sad eyes and shook his head. The vet petted the dog on the head and took it out of the room. A few minutes later, he returned with a cat. The cat jumped on the table and also delicately sniffed the bird from head to foot. The cat sat back on his hind legs, shook his head, mellowed softly, and strode out of the room. The vet looked at the woman and said, "I'm sorry, but as I said, this is most definitely 100% certifiably a dead duck." The vet turned to his computer terminal, hit a few keys, and produced a bill, which he handed to the woman. The duck's owner, still in shock, took the bill and hollered out, $150. $150 just to tell me my duck is dead? The vet shrugged. "I'm sorry. If you had just taken my word for it, the bill would have been $20. But with the lab report and the CAT scan, it's now $150. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way." Amen. Just for a little bit out of the scriptures here in the book of Psalms. Psalm 121. It reads, "I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from which cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in even from this time forth, and even forevermore. Head for the hills. You've heard that statement before. It's that we ought to get out of here and head for the hills. Get away. But there's nowhere to go right now. This bug is all over the world. There's nowhere to hide because it goes everywhere. You don't know who's got it. We have people who don't wear their masks when they're out in public. So we need to do all we can to catch up. We need to go to the hills, from which cometh our help. For our help cometh from the Lord. He will often, because you'll often need help in this world. Trouble is lurking on every hand. Head for the hills. Look to God, for that's where our help cometh from. Amen.